News break. Woke downstream Protestantism is at it again. This time, the United Methodist Church continues to stumble downhill toward inevitable irrelevance and extinction as it moves farther and farther from traditional Wesleyan and Arminian doctrines, and most tragically, from biblical Christianity. Let's take a look at the most recent decision of the United Methodist Church from June 2026. The United Methodist Church has within its structure a body named the University Senate. The University Senate's role is to determine which schools may educate United Methodist candidates for ordained ministry. Without University Senate approval, graduates from unapproved schools cannot seek ordination in the United Methodist Church. To be removed from the approved list is referred to as being delisted. In June 2026, the following seminaries were delisted or removed from the approved list: Asbury Theological Seminary, Luther Seminary, Northeastern Seminary at Roberts Wesleyan University, and Palmer Theological Seminary of Eastern University. Having retired from a United Methodist Church in 2010, I transferred my ordination to the Free Methodist Church in June of that year. I am particularly attentive to the relationship between the United Methodist Church and the Free Methodist Church. Two of the three Free Methodist seminaries, Azusa Pacific Seminary and Bastion School of Theology of Greenville University, were already unapproved. Seattle Pacific is the only Free Methodist seminary approved by the University Senate of the United Methodist Church. First, let us look at the two Free Methodist seminaries that were previously delisted and that continue as unapproved by the United Methodist Church. Azusa Pacific Seminary characterizes itself as independent with a strong Free Methodist Church affiliation. Azusa Pacific Seminary was not previously approved, according to University Senate, for two main issues: a lack of United Methodist-affiliated professors teaching United Methodist history and polity, and an over-reliance on distance learning instead of on-campus resident study. Had Azusa Pacific chosen to seek approval from the United Methodist Church, it would have set for itself an impossible task. The seminary statement, consistent with the Free Methodist Church and in opposition to the United Methodist Church, holds in part that the full behavioral expression of sexuality is to take place within the context of a marriage covenant between a man and a woman, and that individuals remain celibate outside of the bond of marriage. Bastion School of Theology of Greenville University is closely affiliated with the Free Methodist Church. The school was not approved by the United Methodist Church's University Senate because it failed to meet the denomination's criteria for theological education for candidates for licensed or ordained ministry. Similar to Azusa Pacific, the Bastion School and Greenville University state that the gift of sex is reserved for marriage between one man and one woman, and members of our community should therefore abstain from premarital, extramarital, and same-sex sexual relationships. This statement would have hindered any approval by the United Methodist Church if it had been sought. Seattle Pacific Seminary is the only seminary affiliated with the Free Methodist Church that is approved by the United Methodist Church. This approval means the seminary meets the requirements for United Methodist ordination. 2 faculty members and 1 staff member at Seattle Pacific are ordained elders in the United Methodist Church. They ensure that the seminary's theological training is informed by United Methodist doctrine. The situation with Seattle Pacific is not clear-cut. The seminary statement on human sexuality affirms the institutions of marriage and family as central to the purposes of God. It states that in marriage between a man and a woman is the full expression of sexuality and is part of God's plan. The seminary statement makes some odd caveats, however. It states, within the teaching of our religious tradition, we affirm that sexual experience is intended between a man and a woman. My question is, does this mean that within other traditions, other sexual experiences are valid? Additionally, the seminary states, we agree to evaluate our teaching and our pronouncements regarding sexuality in the light of the historic understanding of the Christian Church and the authority of the biblical witness. These last 2 statements are vague enough, I believe, to satisfy the University Senate of the United Methodist Church. let us turn our attention to the 4 seminaries that were delisted in June 2026 by the University Senate of the United Methodist Church. Approval by the Senate is not automatic. It is a recognition that the seminary meets the standards set in the United Methodist Church's Book of Discipline and the Senate's policies. This approval is important for both current and prospective students, as it validates a seminary as legitimate for fulfilling the requirements for ordination in the United Methodist Church. Luther Seminary is the largest seminary of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, the ELCA, and educates a significant number of clergy for the ELCA. This is somewhat of a hollow claim, however, since Luther Seminary has only 243 enrolled students. The delisting in 2026 is somewhat of a surprise, since the ELCA and the UMC are in full communion. On a practical level, full communion means that congregations of both denominations may worship together, and that clergy from one may serve a congregation of the other. The ELCA is declining almost as fast as the UMC and has a current membership of under 3 million. The denomination has 7 seminaries. The ELCA allows for same-sex marriage and ordination of non-heterosexual clergy. The reasons for delisting were twofold and administrative in nature: a lack of a United Methodist professor teaching United Methodist doctrine and history, and an over-reliance on distance learning. Palmer Theological Seminary of Easter University was delisted by the University Senate of the United Methodist Church in June 2026. The seminary formally requesting removal from the list of approved non-United Methodist theological schools. The United Methodist Church's University Senate delisted Northeastern Seminary for differences between the seminary's doctrinal stance on marriage and sexuality and the United Methodist Church's social principles adopted in 2024. These principles removed the 1972 statement that homosexuality was incompatible with Christian teaching and redefined marriage to include same-sex unions. A particular interest to me is the delisting of Asbury Theological Seminary in Wilmore, Kentucky. Asbury Seminary defines itself as multi-denominational, with a significant Free Methodist presence. The seminary in the past has not only educated many United Methodist clergy in Kentucky, but often led the nation is educating United Methodist clergy. The seminary was delisted in June 2026. The core reason for the delisting was disagreement over the United Methodist Church's 2024 social principles, particularly Asbury Seminary's objection to the UMC's revised statement on human sexuality and marriage. The revision removed a 1972 statement that called homosexuality incompatible with Christian teaching and broadened the definition of marriage to include same-sex unions. Asbury Seminary's president, Dr. David F. Watson, said the seminary's institutional ethos and historic Christian witness remain unchanged. We affirm marriage as sanctioned by God, which joins one man and one woman in a single exclusive union for life, as delineated in Scripture, and provides the sole context for sexual intimacy. The seminary maintained that the United Methodist updated standards were not aligned with its doctrinal and ethical commitments, and that the decision was unilateral despite full participation in the review process. In short, Asbury Seminary's delisting was the result of a theological and doctrinal rift over marriage and sexuality, compounded by governance and faculty concerns, leading to the end of its formal role as a United Methodist approved seminary for ordained ministry. Sadly, the United Methodist Church is deflating like a balloon with agenda-driven decisions such as these delistings. The United Methodist Church has experienced a sustained annual decline in membership in America of about 2% over the past several years. This decline may only be attributed to the takeover of the denomination by the leftist social agenda. In 1968, the United Methodist Church had about 11 million members in the United States. In 2022, membership fell to about 5.5 million. In 2023, United Methodist membership in America dropped to about 4.25 million. That is a loss of 1.2 million members in 1 year and the largest single-year decline in American religious history. While the long-term average decline since 1968 is roughly 1.12% per year, the current trend is closer to 2% per year, with 2023 marking the steepest single-year loss in U.S. religious history. By 2050, the United Methodist Church will decline to between 2.5 and 3.5 million members in the United States if it still exists. I predict that before 2050, the United Methodist Church, the Presbyterian Church USA, and the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America will have merged to form the United Church of America, similar to the United Church of Canada. One example of the demise of the United Methodist Church is the delisting of seminaries, particularly Asbury and Northeastern this year. Since when does being inclusive create exclusion? The big inclusive tent of a United Methodist Church is collapsing.